observe a aesthetic choice like that, what's interesting is that it actually says something about the movie, the choice, but it also says something about your projection onto the choice. That there is a desire to differentiate cultures through aesthetics. That you say, oh, this belongs to Japan, or this belongs to Korea, or this belongs to China. This is a way that we separate. The movie constantly seeks to transcend all of those conventions of separation. The movie aesthetically is constantly integrating all sorts of aesthetics. The skyline is full of, there's buildings that are shaped like China, there's buildings that have an influence of Angkor Wat, there's buildings that have a modern sort of eerie, organic influence. That aesthetics, art is a way that we access the potential to transcend these conventions in the same way that love is one of the ways that we expand ourselves. So love says that there's a separation between me and someone else, and that love is a door to a kind of a transcendence beyond the convention of the meanness. The same way that art is a way that we can imagine a world that isn't as separated, a world that has an integration of culture instead of a separation and a differentiation of culture. And we can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to imagine the seas rising to such an extent that maybe Japan would be underwater, you would have a huge influx of Japanese immigrants all over the world. And Korea being as welcoming as it is, I think that a lot of them would end up here, as well as many Australians. It was quite easy.
어렵진 않았습니다.
Well, no, because the book was so wonderfully constructed, when we began pulling it apart, it was very easy to see the interrelationship and interconnectivity of all of the 6 stories and the myriad of characters that appear in the 6 stories. And so we, on our working vacation, when we first decided to try and do the project, it was, we had a lot of fun finding all of the connections. There was like a game to some extent, and yeah, it was a process that continued all the way through the creation of the film. Even in the editing room, we were still finding connections, and even after watching the movie many times, I was still finding connections that we hadn't even realized we had made. So I would like to say thank you for having us. We're very happy to be here, and we hope that everybody enjoys the film. And if you have any questions about your life, any doubts about your life, that for sure you will find your answers in Cloud Atlas.
Our lives are very often controlled by convention. Even this press conference kind of has all of these conventions to it. The movie asks you to not only consider the conventions that are a part of your life and a part of the choices in your life, but also a part of our life as moviegoers and cinema viewers. There are huge conventions that control generally what movies look like and how they tell a story. And we wanted to make a movie that was simultaneously about transcending a lot of these conventions at the same time that it actually transcended the typical conventions used to tell stories.